Friends, I don't have a presentation, and I don't know the T of technology. However, while working in the Department of Science and Technology, I closely watched the evolution of the geospatial industry and realized through interactions with the experts the utility of that. I feel like an imposter while being here because the technology jars are sitting here, the users are sitting here, and I don't know anything about it by atoms to be able to speak on the subject per se. But since I am here, I would like to share my experiences and try and pose certain questions to the industry. As you already heard, I have worked in the Northeast. I have worked in Manipur, to be very precise, and in extremely difficult areas. I'll begin by telling you a personal experience of mine. I was district magistrate of the West District of Manipur, the terrain of which is extremely difficult. And I, as a district magistrate, didn't have a topographic map or a cadastral map or whatever kind of map you can imagine with me. In 1993, things became very bad. Most of you will remember there were huge intertribal clashes between the Nagas and the Kukis. Each night we would collect about 100 bodies from different places, different villages. There were times when we wouldn't know as to how to reach the place where some incident has taken place. So I thought that there are bodies in Government of India which do have maps. They have surveyed the region. And if I make a request, probably they will provide me the map. So I wrote a letter to the Surveyor General of India requesting for the map of my district, preferably map with contours, heights, etc. I didn't receive a reply for 6 months. Then I had an opportunity to come and participate here in a conference of chairmen of the district rural development agencies. I went to the Department of Science and Technology and I made the request to the concerned Joint Secretary there. And I was told, to my dismay, that I am not authorized to have a map. I didn't even ask him why. I said, thanks to such policies, the country, the regions remain backward and people are hardly bothered about them. When we send our forces, particularly the Central Armed Police Forces, with the information that such and such area is currently infested with insurgents or terrorists, these people do not know what awaits them. They try to negotiate a hill, end up losing 10-15 people because they have no idea what is there on the hill, what kind of hill it is, if there is an approach, if there is an approach path or road. Currently, we are faced with challenges relating to the digital maps in three ways. One is, of course, managing the international boundary. We have 1,693 kilometers of boundary with Myanmar. We have more than 4,000 kilometers of international boundary with Bangladesh, and similarly with Nepal and Bhutan. All sorts of activities take place there because our people cannot approach the areas about which they have no knowledge. These are infested with insurgents who are familiar with the terrain, thickly forested, wooded areas, and particularly in Arunachal and Nagaland and Manipur, the hills ranging from the height of 3,000 feet to 9,000 feet, and in some places 10,000 plus feet. I cannot ask the forces, even if I know that this is the route from which 100 or 200 weapons are being brought in. I cannot ask the forces to risk their lives and approach an area which is alien to them. This is one problem. The second category of problem is the boundary disputes between different states, between Arunachal and Assam, between Assam and Nagaland, between Assam and Meghalaya, between Assam and Mizoram. So even in the hinterland, we are entirely not at peace. I am not talking of the left-wing extremist affected areas because I can't talk much about that. But the side with which I am dealing is full of problems. And the third area is the swampy, marshy land and the lakes, where over the years the water hyacinth has become so dense and thick that it has formed a mass of itself and it provides shelter to the insurgents. Now, wherever you have the plains, there are means you can use UAVs to locate these people and then guide your forces accordingly. Even there, the problem is we don't have accurate georeference data, as a result of which when you use the UAV and send in the forces might land up on another, what they call Phumdi in local language in Manipur. They might land on another Phumdi instead of landing on the Phumdi where these guys are sitting. The point of concern for us is that in terms of maintaining internal security, we are entirely at a loss. The forces do not know where they are going, and if they reach a place, what kind of terrain they are going to be encountered with. Having said that, I would also like to inform you that with certain amount of efforts, when we could get information of Tripura state, we got it digitized, the satellite imageries were available, we prepared a detailed map of Tripura. And with that, we didn't have to use CRPF or BSF or Assam Rifles. We gave it to the state police, and the state police was able to control the insurgency in 1.5 years' time. That's because with the aid, with the help of what they had in their hands, they could approach the hideouts and the camps of the militants without being seen, without being observed, and attack them. Tripura, I can very proudly say, is today free of any kind of insurgency. The remnants which are there are hiding in Chittagong hill tracts bordering Tripura, where the presence of Bangladesh armed forces is hardly any. Of course, they are there, but at least 50 to 60 kilometers away from the international border. So within this buffer zone, some of them are there. They keep kidnapping people once in a while for ransom. But beyond that, nothing much happens in that state. I wish I could provide this tool to all the state police, all the states, particularly in the northeast and of course in the left-wing extremist affected areas, the maps of which probably don't exist. The areas where these Maoists have been operating. There are more issues, and there are issues like the knowledge of the heights, the knowledge of the rivers, the knowledge of the streams, which we don't have. When we start operating along Assam-Bhutan border, we find that we are suddenly faced with a small river, which is probably 8 feet or 9 feet deep, with very, very strong and swift current. The criminals across the river, they literally laugh at our security forces and walk away. We can't do much. You open fire, there is jungle. You are not going to be able to shoot them unless you are very close. I do not know how far the geospatial technology will be able to take care of all the security concerns. I have absolutely no idea of all the applications which might have been developed by the industry. But we need technology, and the industry has to provide it to us for effective border management and for effective patrolling of the forests, the hills, the mountains. I don't think I have anything more to say on this particular subject. And I also don't know if this technology will be able to help us in terms of finding out the hideouts, finding out the camps, and locating these people. To what degree it will be helpful, I don't know. So if somebody could enlighten me later as to what all is possible and what all is not possible, I'll be very glad to listen to that. And of course, carry it with me and then start the process of procuring the necessary equipments, necessary products, and then get our people trained to use them. There is one more request, and that is, I don't know if it is feasible or not feasible. The fusion of satellite imagery along with the features, different kind of features on the ground, and the means to describe them and the means to be able to explain it to the lowliest of the Jawans, who is probably class 8 or class 10 pass. In simple terms, that person should be able to use it, understand it, and operate. And lastly, a good and simple georeferenced map, not a very detailed map, but the map which provides information for the local areas. I do not know what it is called in survey terms. I've heard words like strip maps and all sorts of things. If those also could be done, they'll be very useful at the company level, at the unit level. So thank you. And if you have to ask me anything, I am here to respond to it. So if there is nothing, with your permission, I can move down. Thank you.